It's up in New Hampshire, and it's time to light the fuse.
Absolute fireball. Flames leaping out from behind that machine.
Oh, Scott got nailed in the right rear.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Okay.
NASCAR has come to the Northeast for the first of 2 races on New Hampshire's Magic Mile. The next time we're here, the chase will be on, so it's a huge weekend for those on the outside looking in. After last week's win at Sonoma, Casey Gain is just 3 points out of the chase, and by virtue of a great run last week, Juan Pablo Montoya is in the best spot he's ever been in at this point of the season. Mark Martin is still in the chase. That will be the first race of the chase. Get on your feet, New England. Every fan lives for race day, and today it's yours. Hello, race fans, and welcome to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway and NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot. I'm JR. He's Mr. Excitement, and he is Kenna Wallace.
Hey, why'd you stutter there on that?
I was trying to figure out who you were.
Oh, okay.
Not like I don't know you or anything.
You know what? I don't know if you can see it, but I have goosebumps. You know why? I've got to remind you, this is the time of the season where I get to do this. There are 10 races till the chase for the championship. And let me tell you something that's big about this race. Spence, on September 20th, now remember, today's race is huge, but September 20th, this is the very first place we come to start off the chase for the championship. So today, watch your driver, because how he runs today is probably going to send a signal what kind of work they have to do when they come back here September 20th for the first race for the championship chase. Woo!
Wow. Well, I love New England. I used to race up here. You know, you've got the Boston Red Sox, and you've got these Boston Celtics, and, you know, you've got these so-called New England Patriots. You know what you have? You have the biggest facility in all of New England. Today, we'll have more fans here than any other place in New England. New Hampshire. Well, you know what, Bruton Smith? Thanks for buying this racetrack. Since he's bought this place, $12 million spent. 3 Dog Night, a little bit later on, are going to play live. The camping facilities have changed. The upgrades that Jerry Gappins and his staff have done with Bruton Smith's leadership is absolutely phenomenal. You get a chance, you come to New Hampshire, baby. This is where it's at.
And they will fill the place up today. But for more on what's going on down in the garage area, let's bring in Wendy Venturini. Wendy, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Now, this is a new and improved New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Well, since Bruton Smith has bought it, he's already putting some improvements and money into the place. What have we seen? Well, there was an 1.5 acres of usable space inside this racetrack. Now, since the last time we were here, 7 acres of usable space, they tell us, now that they've moved some drainage issues outside to the racetrack. And when we come back next year, after this fall race, there is talk about turning these garages into a completely new garage area, breaking down those garage stalls, building new ones. It's going to be one heck of a facility, bringing in more people and more space into this garage area and into the infield. Well, one thing that hasn't changed at Loudon, we're expecting rain today. Unfortunately, there is weather in the area. We've had weather Friday and Saturday, rain, 64 degrees, 90% humidity. Makes for a great hair day for us ladies. Now, when you look at the radar here at Loudon, we're going to take a look at the close-up here. Now, the racetrack is located north of Concord. There is a cell. It's 110 miles out, and it is precipitation that's building. We don't know how much rain is going to be coming this way, but it is headed in our direction. If we take a look at our national radar and pan out a bit, if you go to the northeast corner right there, there, you'll see this large cell right in the northeast is coming right over Loudon, New Hampshire. We want that to stay away. Rain is expected right around 2 o'clock today, so it's around the start time for our race. Hopefully that won't be an issue. I'll tell you who did have some issues, and that was Mark Martin. Spun in practice on Friday. Little unlikely for Mark Martin. He said he got in a little bit too hot, tried to keep it off the wall, got in too deep. Spin, no damage. We'll start 11th, of course, due to points. Now, a guy that's in a backup car, Tony Stewart, our points leader. Got a little loose, chased it up the racetrack. His quote, "It was my fault." They had to go to the backup car. But here's the thing. Tony Stewart will start from the pole today. Now you say, how come in Pocono he went to a backup car and he had to start from the rear of the field? Well, today, that's not the case. He presented the car for race inspection before qualifying took place, before they set the field when it started to rain. Therefore, Tony Stewart in the 14 car will not start from the rear of the field. He will start in the backup, and he will start from that pole position. Now, for more on this racetrack, Hermie Sadler, what is up with these veterans spinning out on the racetrack? Very unlikely of these experienced guys out there.
Well, Wendy, you're exactly right. And what we saw with the 5 and the 14 are guys getting loose on the entry to the corner. Why is that? Because everybody's trying to find that balance to get the car to rotate through the middle of these corners. This is a very unique racetrack. It is what we call progressive banking. Right here at the bottom of the racetrack, only 2 degrees, basically flat. You move up the racetrack, 5 degrees up to 7 degrees. Now on most progressive banked racetracks, if your car will not turn, you can go up the racetrack to where there's more banking. That'll help your car turn. But at this racetrack that makes it unique, a lot of guys that are struggling to get the car to turn come down to the bottom of the racetrack and not only use the bottom groove, but also use the apron of the racetrack. Why do they get on the apron? Because it de-wedges the car. It takes wedge out, helps the car turn better, and you have to be able to run the bottom to be able to pass cars. So what they've been struggling to find is the right balance to get the car to turn through the middle of the corner and not get too loose on entry. So that'll be something to watch today. Who can keep their car good on entry but rotate good through the middle to make passes and get on these long straightaways here at the Magic Mile. JR?
Hermie, thanks a lot. Now, with 10 races to go before the cutoff for the chase for the Sprint Cup, this situation has never been tighter when you get back in the field. But let's take a look at the 3 guys who are virtual locks for the championship right now. After that, anything goes. Tony Stewart with 1 win, Jeff Gordon with 1, 84 behind, and Jimmy Johnson with 2 wins, 157 points. Now, back beyond that, gentlemen, only 170 points separates Kurt Busch all the way back to Casey Kane, the first driver on the outside looking in.
And, you know, this is some surprises here. Kurt Busch not a factor at all last year, sitting 4th in the chase. Going to be a factor in today's race. Carl Edwards, 8 wins. Ryan Newman, a new team. Here he is, his partner's leading the points. He's 6th. Incredible, Kenny.
And this next page is really awesome. Check this out. I mean, we're looking all the way down here at guys like Mark, the Kid Martin. Now, if the championship chase gets ready to start right now, Mark Martin will find himself right at the top with 3 wins.
Because of the bonus points, you get 10 bonus points for every win during the regular season. Applies to your total when it comes chase time. So that is definitely one of the many reasons. Of course, you want to be in the chase to run for the championship, but Mark Martin and his team, believe me, would hate to leave those 30 points on the table.
Well, we know from Victory Lane, Mark Martin, when he won at Michigan, where'd I move to in the points? Well, he was 8th. After last week, he went to 11th. How about Rudiman? 13th, he dropped back to 14th. Juan Pablo moves up to the top 12. First time a Ganassi car's been in the chase hunt. No Childress cars at all in the top 12. That's a big story because Burton last week dropped all the way back to 5th, from 12th to 15th.
And you know another odd stat? 9th, 10th, and 11th in the points have the most wins. So why aren't they up there? Consistency. They have to be a little bit more like Tony Stewart. They have to finish every race. As we know, Mark the Kid Martin blew a couple motors early in the year. But you're winningest drivers right now in the sport, 9th, 10th, and 11th in the points. That's odd.
Well, coming up today on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, we're going to have Juan Pablo Montoya, the most recent winner, Casey Kane, and also in the real deal, you will see a side of Denny Hamlin that you haven't seen lately.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. Visit HomeDepot.com. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Brought to you in part by Advance Auto Parts. Keep the wheels turning. And by NASCAR Banking, only from Bank of America. Your debit card, your credit card, your driver. Learn more at a Bank of America banking center today.
Here at the Magic Mile of Loudon, New Hampshire, we have 10 races to go before the chase cutoff, and as a car owner, Richard Childress has 89 Cup wins and 12 championships in NASCAR's 3 Top Series. But as of right now, he does not have a car in the chase. That could all change in a big way because they're off to a great start this weekend. For more on that, let's go to Wendy Venturini.
Hey, Johnny, I'm with RC, and yes, as you mentioned, we all know the stat that none of the RCR cars in the top 12. So, RC, tell us, how do we turn the organization around? How do we get some of those guys? Jeff Burton just fell out of that top 12. He's so close to getting back in.
Yeah, him and Clint both are. You know, we just got a little off, and you know, it's kind of like peaks and valleys. You're gonna go through them if you're in this sport long enough, and we see a lot of bright things coming. All of our cars are running really good here. It's unfortunate we didn't get to qualify, and track position is so important here. So we'll see how it goes. It's a long ways, and the weather may play a difference. So we got some good cars.
Now there's peaks and valleys in the whole United States right now. You were quoted this week saying we're going to have to cut somewhere. It seems like all these teams are cutting back. How does that translate on the racetrack? How do we have those effects here with RC?
Well, you know, the adjustments we're going to make. We're not going to make anything to do with competition. You can't take away from competition because you got to keep your cars running and running good. It's a lot of the things that I think the whole sport will have to make some adjustments in. No different than everyone, and we're just preparing ourselves to do what we got to do.
Now, one of the sponsors on your car, on a much lighter note, Cheerios. Race fans, if you go to CheeriosRacing.com, you can get a $4 coupon, and who doesn't love coupons, especially at this time? If you go to CheeriosRacing.com, get some coupons. Now, if we were to give an option for Cheerios to all our crazy men on NASCAR race day, well, how do they start their day? If you were to start with someone like Kenny Wallace, what kind of Cheerios product do you think Kenny Wallace would choose?
Well, you know, Kenny's kind of nutty anyway. I'd probably put him in there with our Cheerios Banana Nut. That's one of my favorites too.
All right, let's check your challenge. Let's check in with Kenny Wallace. What kind of Cheerios does Kenny choose? Oh yes, he chooses the nutty one, Banana Nut for Kenny Wallace. How appropriate that Kenny Wallace chooses that. Now, next on our list, our next challenge would be Rutledge Wood. Now, Rutledge is even crazier than Kenny Wallace, it seems. What kind of Cheerios do you think Rutledge Wood would choose if he had a selection in front of him?
You know, Rutledge is pretty fruity. If you look at him, he's quite fruity. He would probably pick the fruity Cheerios.
Well, let's check in. Rutledge, what does Rutledge choose? Oh yeah, fruity Cheerios. 2 for 2 for Richard Childress. You're pretty good. You're pretty good at this game, and I'm not a very good game show host. But to turn this into a game, let's go 3 for 3. Let's see if you get this right. Jimmy Spencer. Now we all know Spence, big guy. What kind of Cheerios do you think he'll take?
You know, I'm not sure about Jimmy. He's, you know, I think of him sort of as Cheerios the Crunchy, because when I watched him drive race cars, and he crunched up a lot of them. So he might like the crunchy style Cheerios.
And if we were to check in with Spencer to see if he goes crunchy, nutty, fruity, berry, banana nutty. Oh wait, Spencer, he chooses them all. He's taking a little bit of all the Cheerios. But of course, Spencer, he can't decide. He's got to have a little bit of everything, but it's in moderation. Spencer, no surprise, he's got to watch out for his girlish figure there. So, but
in your health, you know, everyone has to watch your health today. And old Jimmy there, you know, he ain't getting no younger, so he needs to eat a lot of Cheerios like I do in the morning. See, I done thinned down. I'm ready to go.
All right, thanks to Richard Childress joining us on NASCAR Race Day. Head out to CheeriosRacing.com, get your $4 coupon. I know I will, and head to the grocery store, get some Cheerios. Johnny?
Wendy and RC, thanks a lot. We got a lot of nuts up here, but I thought you'd go for the berry. Berry?
Listen, they didn't have enough bowls for me. All that selection of Cheerios was incredible. So my wife picks the Cheerios for me. I do eat them. They are fantastic. Good breakfast.
Hey, race fans, make sure your heart is on track. Visit CheeriosRacing.com, and you'll get a great heart-healthy tip and also $4 in coupons from Cheerios. You'll also be entered for a chance to be one of 3,300 lucky fans to get their name in the number 33 Cheerios race car, actually on the number 33 Cheerios race car this July 11th. Now, still to come on NASCAR Race Day, how can it be that the most talked about driver in NASCAR isn't even a NASCAR driver right now? We will explain. Welcome back to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. There is no question we have plenty of colorful race fans up here in the New England part of the country. But for this week's most colorful fan, here's Rutledge Wood.
So Left Turn Lindsay's with us this weekend. So Lindsay, tell us what you found today.
Well, being NASCAR's most colorful fan is more than just getting to the track. It's how you get around the track. And Mark here rides in style.
Mark, I don't know what this crazy is. This a wagon? What is this?
Well, it's an oversized wagon. We have a full stereo system in it. We've been bringing it here for 8-10 years. It gets a lot of looks. Everybody turns, looks, takes pictures. Gets a few autographs here. Like I said, I got a full stereo system. Whales out pretty good.
This is great, man. I'm so glad you could be here. Thanks for being our most colorful fan. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to take this bad boy for a little spin. See you guys later. See ya.
Hey, that wasn't acting. Rutledge really did steal that wagon. For those of you who couldn't make it to Loudon, make sure you register at NASCAR.com/mostcolorfulfan for your chance to be M&M's most colorful fan of NASCAR winner. On the site, you can vote for your favorites, play the instant win game, and upload your own colorful photos for the chance to win a trip to the final race of the season at Homestead, Miami, where M&M's will crown the most colorful fan of NASCAR. Coming up, we're going to talk to Juan Pablo Montoya. He's in the top 12, but can he stay there? He will tell us why he thinks so in a moment.
Sunday. See NASCAR Race Day's resident Kid Quick. Take on Hollywood Hammond. Do Fast Feet and Good Hands meet their match at the gun show?
I got enough energy left to kick your butt.
Hermie and Hammond square off to see who's got what it takes to go over the wall for the 31 team. Around the turn, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
The work on race day starts early in the morning and goes late into the evening. Some of the unsung heroes of NASCAR that make the sport work are busily working at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, getting ready for race day. And in 4 out of the last 5 races, Juan Pablo Montoya has been in the top 10, and that's the most consistent he has been in his 89 race career, and that's also gotten him into the top 12. For more, Hermie Sadler is with Juan Pablo.
Well, you're right, JR. The last 3 races, an 8th place and 2 6th-place finishes, got yourself in position for the chase. I know the company line is we're not thinking about that right now, but you guys have got to be excited to be in the mix.
Yeah, it's exciting to be running good. You know, this Target Chevy has been incredible. Everybody at Earnhardt Ganassi seems to be doing a really good job. I know, you know, you got to take it race by race, do the best you can every week and see what happens. You know, the goal is making the chase. Of course it is. We're still quite away. We just got to keep finishing good every week and see what happens.
Speed has never been a problem for your race team. Consistency has, and you've been getting that recently. What's been the difference?
I think just working with Brian and the engineers and everybody in the team, I think everybody's really bonding together. We kind of understanding what to run everywhere, and it seems everywhere we go, we download, you know, come off the truck and we're good. So it's good, you know.
Let's talk about this racetrack here, a tough racetrack to pass. Talking about track position, how was your car yesterday in practice, and how do you feel like this race is going to unfold, and weather could be a factor as well?
Well, everybody says weather is a factor. It might rain, it might not. Hopefully it doesn't. I really want to go home. But, you know, I think we got a decent car. It's hard to say we're going to have a great car because you look at the pace is good, but everybody seems to be very close together. So, you know, if we can get another top 10 out of this, I'll be more than happy.
The last thing before we go, I know you said we're going to take it race by race, but as you look down, we've got 10 to go before we lock in the chase. If you look at the schedule, is it any racetrack coming up that really concerns you, or do you just try to keep an open mind before you get to the racetrack?
Well, the way we're running this year, I don't mind going anywhere. You know, it doesn't matter where we go, we're good. I think the bigger thing is like Daytona getting involved in a wreck and things like that. But, you know, it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. So for us, it's just keep running as hard as we can every week and see what happens.
And JR, looking at this race team, a race that really stands out for me for Juan Pablo, look back at Pocono a couple weeks ago, didn't have the kind of race car he wanted, but still salvaged a 6th-place finish. Those are the kind of days you have to contend for a championship.
Yeah, Hermie, that's the mark of a championship team. And just how big would it be for Earnhardt Ganassi Racing to be in the top 12, considering where they came from at the beginning of this year? A lot of people had them written off. But, gentlemen, as of right now, the battle for the 12th position has never been tighter at this point in the season than it is right now.
No, it has not been. And as we look at this is the first time that Ganassi's had a legitimate shot at this. This Juan Pablo, with 7 top 10 finishes, is doing really well. My opinion, I don't like this deal. I don't like it at all. I think they need to figure out a better way to put the top 12 guys. But the end result is the way it's structured, and you heard Richard Childress say his cars are running better now, peaks and valleys. I say eliminate the valleys and go to the top, go to the peaks, but that's a whole nother subject. I think Juan Pablo has learned to be consistent. I think he can finish in the top 12 and have a shot at the championship.
And you know something that's really interesting? No one has ever fought for the championship who was born outside the United States. Yes, hold on. Mario Andretti won the Daytona 500, and he's from outside the United States. I think it would take NASCAR and put it truly in a worldly perspective. If Juan Pablo could fight for the championship, I think it would be awesome. So, Juan, you go. That would make our sport totally international for sure.
And as of right now, he is in there.
He is in there. He's from Bogota, Colombia. Yeah. That's big.
It is just very tough to stay in the top 12. Now, another driver who had a great run last weekend was Marcus Ambrose in the number 47, and he is standing by with Wendy Venturini.
Thanks, Johnny. Yes, Marcus Ambrose tied his career best finish of third after Infineon last week. Marcus, it's got to make you feel good. Coming off that, always got to give you a little bit more confidence going into the next week when you tie your career best.
Well, it is, although I feel like, we made a very tough weekend for ourselves there at Sonoma. I hope this weekend won't be the same, but just a great buzz for my team. I mean, I just feel really confident that we're getting better and better as the season progresses, and in a match our best finish is good, but we were looking for a couple more spots further up the grid, and I just feel like the race just went against us there the last 20-odd laps, but we're really excited for the future. We've got a great group of people, and I'm just really excited to be part of this team.
And the last couple weeks, you've had 2 top 10s in the last 3 races. You're moving up in the points. As we get closer and closer, we keep joking, 10 races to the Chase cutoff. Are you at any point looking at getting into that top 12?
No, I'm not really focused on that at all. I hate talking about points. For me, it's just about looking good out there. So if I've got a chance to run well, run at the front, I'm going to do that. I'm going to try and bust off some passes and make the sponsor and my team feel good about me being in that car. We've overachieved already this year. We're top 20 in points. We feel great about that. But we just love going racing and trying to be the best. We've had some tough weekends. Michigan was only 2 weeks ago, and it was pretty easy to remember how difficult that day was for us. So we're not out of trouble yet. We're going to have bad weekends, some good weekends, but we're really excited. We just feel like we've got something great going here at the moment, and hopefully it keeps moving forward.
And it looked good in happy hour. Marcus Ambrose was 12th on that chart. We want to thank Marcus for joining us because we do know that you are sick right now. We hope that you feel better by the time the race starts. Maybe the rain will hold off for you.
Yeah, a lobster got me on Friday night, so hopefully I'll dominate him and get back on track. But I feel good for the race. I feel ready for it.
Okay, well, Johnny, keep away from the lobsters.
Well, I want to see that big giant lobster they usually bring out at the end of that big
New England,
lobster.
you got to have a lobster.
Lobster.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take a quick break, but when we come back, how funny is the old video of drivers? We love to see guys in their younger years, and we will do that and look back at Loudon history.
NASCAR's Southern Showcases are great traditions. But Bruton's New England Showplace has quite a history of its own.
There's no question Ernie's comeback is complete.
We race down memory lane and relive the magic.
The chase begins in New Hampshire and Brian Newman wins.
Coming at you, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Welcome back, race fans, to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. This part of the country has some beautiful scenery, but it also has a very rich history of racing. From the short track at Thompson to the Magic Mile at Loudon, this race becomes the Daytona 500 of the Northeast.
16 years ago, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series made its debut at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Ken Squire bidding you welcome to the biggest racing day in New England history. Today, New England proudly says we too are part of the most competitive motorsports in the world.
On that day, Rusty Wallace won the inaugural event and scored his only win at New Hampshire. Since then, the Magic Mile has seen its share of magic moments.
This will be such a hugely emotional victory lane, certainly after the accident at Michigan. And Ernie Irvan, he's back in victory lane.
Jeff tried to...
Oh, man, look at the 48 guys right up on the hood.
3 of the members getting hit by another car. They came back to do their job and make the crucial stop when it counted.
Jean Nemechek is a first-time winner.
Who'd have thought that his first win would come on an oval track instead of a road course? Brian Newman comes off of turn 4 to the checkered flag, his first NASCAR win.
Clint Boyer becomes the first-time winner.
Again, I'll put this up on the racetrack.
You know, all I did was race him the same way he's been racing us, and you know, he just crashed us. So I mean, I don't even think he tried to make the corner.
Here's today's helmet tossing event. Wow, that was pretty gutsy. It's like a bullfighter. Busch in the wall, the defending series champion.
Oh my goodness. At 10 car, we've had issues in the past, and this isn't the place to repay somebody.
Oh, contact!
Got into the back of Jeff Gordon.
You can't blame Jeff for being mad about that. Gordon being penalized for his retaliation on Robbie Gordon.
He should be embarrassed right now to win that race.
Any regrets on the retaliation?
I was mad. You know, I mean, I just wish I would have taken his, you know, tire down or something. At least though he wouldn't have won the race. I mean, I just didn't do a very good job of it. But see, everybody thought you couldn't make me mad. You can make me mad.
For the first time outside of Daytona or Talladega, we've got restrictor plates on these cars.
A mile racetrack, we're going to run restrictor plates. That's the most insane thing I've ever heard.
That's right, restrictor plates at Loudon. Sadly, this racetrack claimed the lives of Adam Petty and Kenny Irwin in 2000, and NASCAR had to do something.
NASCAR secretly tested soft walls with unmanned cars here. They decided that the foam blocks weren't the answer. Restrictor plates were.
To say Jeff Burton dominated the restrictor plate race is an understatement.
For the first time since 1978 in Winston Cup competition, someone's going to lead every single lap of a Winston Cup race. What an amazing feat that is.
New England has a long history in sports, and since 1993, NASCAR has been a welcome part.
This racetrack has produced 8 different winners in the last 8 races, and had you watched NASCAR Smarts earlier today, you would know that Jeff Burton leads everybody with 4 wins here.
And you know what's incredible? When we think of New England this era, we think of the Boston Red Sox. We think of the New England Patriots. Nobody 16 years ago would have said if you build an oval racetrack in the middle of nowhere, I mean, Lake Winnipesaukee is here and it's beautiful, but race fans, we can fill up 4 Boston Fenway Parks with what's going to be in here today. There'll be 100-something thousand people. They are here.
And they are loud, too.
They are
we
loud.
like that.
Oh, my God, I can't hear.
Yeah, so who hasn't wanted to be king for a day? I know Jimmy and Kenny have both wanted to be the king for a day, but now you have the chance to be king for a day as well as Speed's Daytona celebration kicks off next weekend. And it's your chance to be king for the day, the Richard Petty King for a Day VIP sweepstakes. You can find out more about it on speedtv.com, keyword promo. And here's a question for you. Who's more of a bad man, Hermie or Hammond? We'll decide.
Jimmy Spencer.
Track position, get used to it. You're going to hear it a lot today because it is so vital at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. A pit stop takes less than 14 seconds, but the preparation takes 7 days. Is our own Hermie Sadler up for the challenge to work out and prepare? Well, let's check in with the 31 team.
Now, I'm already here, getting ready, getting loose. Hammond, I think, had to stop up at the local tanning bed to get one last tan in before he made it here, so a little bit of a head start. But look at this lineup. Tire changes. Of course, he should have an advantage because he's a previous tire changer. Of course, that was 1959, so probably hadn't done it in a while. And
Here, let me fix this for you. Now.
Hammond and Hermie on the jack. Jeff Hammond used to be a jack man. You might say he has the advantage. I say no, because he's used to pumping that jack. You had to pump 72 times to get the car off the ground. These one-pump jacks, no way.
Coming at you, Hermie. I'm gonna get you. Now you're on my turf. My turf.
Be back in a minute. I got to get some stretch and get ready for this competition. I came to win.
You've been around this sport as long as I have.
I have.
Okay, so every now and then, you know, you have to work a little bit harder outside the lines to make things work.
Okay.
I need you to go over yonder to that rear bottle when he gets ready to make his time run. Just turn the air off, okay?
Ready, go.
He got one of our guys to turn the air bottles off. All right, turn it back on.
Don't mess with me, sucker!
All right, ready,
set, go. Ow! We got him by a lug nut. Jeff Hammond wins this event. Come on, Irvin.
It's okay. You want me to help you there, buddy? Let me show you something. See, you put it right there like this right here, and you just go, ooh. See? Good job. Come on. Go.
.417. Ready. Go. 496. Hammond wins here in the parking lot.
Just want you to know, Jimmy Spencer and Kenny Wallace, they're proud of you. Because you're out here, you're showing them.
Am I supposed to be happy about that? Now we're working upstairs in the gym at RCR, and to get us started with this is Ray Wright.
All right, guys, what we got is we got 250 reps of the most despised workouts we have, all right?
Let's get it on. Let's go.
Ready. Go. 6.
Stay focused.
I think Hammond's done a start and park today, but we'll check on that.
I'm in for a pit stop. Need 4 tires, 2 cans of gas, some new legs, a better heart.
Come on, we got one more. We are done this. Jump squats.
Hey, I don't know.
You got it.
Hermie earned the inside war. He did. He won the war here. I have no qualms about waving the white flag.
I learned 2 things. Number 1, I'm not in shape. And number 2, these guys at RCR definitely put the work in and the time in. They deserve to be pit crew champions.
You should learn the third thing.
That you're older and more out of shape than I am?
I'm smarter than you are. I didn't go as far as he did.
On behalf of the RCR Human Performance Department, what we have is a signed diecast from Richard Childress, Jeff Burton, and the entire championship crew for you to auction off and do with as you want. So here you go, Hermie.
I'd love to take it off your hands, but I can't raise my arms right now. But we'll take that. If it's okay with you, Hammond, we'll use it for the charity tournament next Monday for autism.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, everybody at RCR.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks, RCR. Appreciate it. What a fun day that was. I got Ray Wright and Jeff Burton there. First of all, Jeff, I know you're really impressed with what you saw with me on the tires. Very important track position today. I think I'll step in and take over the reins of the rear tire changer.
I was impressed with the this dead squats. I wasn't so impressed with the lug nut technology that you were displaying. But if we want to lift, I think you can do it. I'm pretty impressed with that.
Well, we'll get back to that in a second. Ray Wright is a strength and conditioning coordinator for RCR. You put those guys through the paces, and they are really in great shape. They put in a lot of time. My question to you is, for the fans at home, how does that kind of workout and that kind of mental and physical toughness translate to good stops on pit road?
Well, it's just like you said. I mean, we're killing a lot of birds with one stone there. The physical approach is major because, these hot days, these days where they're going to have 10, 11 stops, they've got to be, physically able to go on that last stop of the day when they're hot, tired, just as good as they were on that first stop. And the things that we do in the weight room, man, it really, when they see themselves break down those mental barriers that we, put on them, it really speaks volumes. I mean, our gym's it's a very uncomfortable place. It's hot.
Yeah, the air conditioning doesn't work. I found that out.
Yeah. So I try and mimic as much as possible, what they see out here on race day. And the guys are great, man. They work very hard there. They go back to the shop. So they do a great job.
I'd love to be a tough guy, but I got to say, I couldn't get out of the bed for 2 days after that workout. But, Jeff, let's get to today. Obviously, a good racetrack for you, and you guys have slipped back outside of that top 12, which is all about a good day for you guys to try to get back into that.
Well, it is. We've got 10 races to get ourselves back in. It's going to be tough. We know that coming into the year it was going to be hard, and we're not surprised that it's going to be hard. So we're prepared for that. It's going to be a battle, and that's when our team's the best. When things are tough and things aren't going great, our guys are real mature, and we just keep fighting, and that's really when we're our best. And what Ray does there in the gym has a lot to do. Kind of, it's a mental approach. When you think you can't do something, you can't do it. And as long as you understand you can't do it, and you understand you're working hard, you can do it. And that approach that they apply on Monday through Fridays, that'll pay off here on Sundays as well.
And a lot of variables today. Obviously, weather is a factor. Racetrack got hot and slick yesterday. It's cool and overcast today. How do you keep up with an ever-changing racetrack?
Well, this track changes as much as any racetrack that we go to, and on top of that, it rained a lot, and so all that rubber's washed off. The difference between the first practice and the second practice was huge yesterday. The difference between the beginning of the first practice and the end of the second practice was huge. So we're going to have a transformation of the track. We've got to be able to stay on top of it. This is a demanding racetrack. It's very difficult. You're going to see a lot of people running a lot of different lines, and for us, our struggle yesterday was exiting the corners, but I think we've done something to really make that better. So we're real optimistic about today.
These guys have a lot going for them here at Loudon. Jeff Burton's good on the racetrack. Ray Wright's got the guys ready for pit road. Should be a good combination, guys.
We just got to get you in a little bit better shape there, Hermie. No, you guys did good. I'm very, very proud of you guys. Now, we are looking at rain clouds again hovering around the area. We've seen it so far this season, and we've also seen it last year as well at this very race. A great strategy call by one crew chief ended up with Kurt Busch having a big lobster on his lap.
Place, but it's still the same challenging race. Today, these fans have come to New Hampshire Motor Speedway in big numbers to see the biggest stars in racing.
Green goes in the air.
Side by side, and this one's going to be over quickly. Kevin Harvick dives deep into the corner, takes the lead away.
Three up off the corner, tight in the center. Can't get through the center, I can't do nothing. Control.
Yeah, I got a feeling most of these guys set up for a track that would be very cool, and right now it's getting pretty warm.
Man, I've said this thing's ugly for power all weekend, but man. Got there, smoke. Need to turn better. I got tight in the center there. And the nose is on the racetrack. Got the last 2 feet on the right side. See if you can pay attention to that for me.
Kevin Harvick looks back. Here comes Junior putting on the charge. Nick's right up on the rear deck of Harvick Chevrolet.
I need to hear something encouraging. You did lead that one, so you need to do whatever you need to do there. You get D- for encouragement. Told you you're going to work on that during the week.
Traffic back there in the pack trying to get around the slower traffic, and they're getting together, some beating and banging.
All over the place. Shatter in the front end real bad. Got to get four, and we have not been worth a damn since we put that rubber in.
Kurt, the one in front, is very happy with his race car. He said it's really the best they've been all year, and they're going to try the fuel thing as well, trying to go all the way.
But we got some rain about 30 miles to the west of us here. Rain coming. I think the race will be over by the time it gets here.
It'll be interesting. We have 23 laps to go. Continually darkening skies here. It almost looks like nighttime. Kurt Busch shows the way up off turn number 4.
Clouds are rolling in like what we had yesterday. The weather's right here. It could rain any minute. It's coming down pretty hard on the front. Starting to get water inside the car. And fourth car. Pace car's telling them really wet.
And now there's more trouble. Juan Pablo Montoya and Kyle Busch have come together under the caution flag.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
They're going to bring the cars down pit road and park them. We'll just wait and see what NASCAR decides. A call on pit road made all the difference. Mother Nature helped out a little bit. NASCAR has pulled the plug. It's all over. Kurt Busch scores the win here today.
And we are now joined with Kurt Busch, who has had a busy schedule this morning, joining us on NASCAR Race Day. Kurt, you lead second most of the wins here at Loudon, tied with Jeff Gordon. 3 wins here. You know a thing or two about this place. What makes you so good here? What do you like about Loudon?
Some tracks come easier to some drivers and others don't. Like I struggle at Martinsville and Charlotte, and every time I come up to Loudon, I feel like I find the groove and find a good handle on the car, and we make good adjustments as we're going through practice.
Now, when you look at the points this season, you are 4th in points right now, and at this time last year, you were 22nd, my friend. What makes the big difference? We are so happy to see you in that top 5 all season.
Well, thanks. It's good to be back, and I always hated that Most Improvement Award. That means you screwed up the year before, and so hopefully we can keep it going. Just the team, the ideas we're bringing to the table, the new engine, aerodynamics, all around we've been working hard. And like last week, we were running 4th. We got wrecked and came all the way back to finish 15th at the end. We were running 38th with 20 laps to go, and we finished 15th. Sometimes things go your way.
Now, when I was looking at you in practice, watching the lap tracker, I wanted to pick you for fantasy picks, but somebody who's leading chose you first, so we're going to have to wait and see. But anyways, I have to go on and pick somebody else. What makes a driver good here when it comes to how line sensitive this racetrack is? What are you looking for in a driver? Where can we see those drivers up front? What kind of line are they looking for?
Well, I think that most of the group runs in the middle to high groove. If you can get your car to run in that low area where nobody else is, that means you can pass. It's tough to get your car to work down there, but if you can get it to stick and come off the corners and still have good forward bite, it's going to lend yourself to racing all on your own because you don't have to race everybody else that's running up top. But who knows, with double file restarts, you're going to be stuck in the top groove whether you like it or not, and your car has to be maneuverable. That's the biggest thing. Your car doesn't have to be fast, just has to be maneuverable.
All right, well, thanks, Kurt, for joining us. And, of course, Kurt will start 4th due to owner points for this today's field, setting it up. But Kurt Busch, I think, is definitely going to be good here at Loudon. As we know, he swept here in 2004. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot. He's one of the few multiple-time winners here at Loudon. Now, coming up next, we have Casey Kane and Greg Biffle live. They will join us to talk about their recent successes and struggles. And also, we'll continue to get you fired up for 301 miles of racing and some wildlife here in Loudon, New Hampshire. Well, last weekend in wine country, there was beer in Victory Lane. Casey Kane snapped a season-long losing streak. Well, not really a losing streak, a winless streak in the number 9. 37 races between his wins, but he got his 10th win of his career and his first of the season and first on a road course. That puts him just 3 points outside of the top 12, and Casey is standing by with our Hermie Sadler. Herm?
Well, thank you, Darryl, and I am standing by with Casey Kane now. When you sat down to begin the 2009 season looking at the schedule, to pick the first place you'd visit Victory Lane, where was Infineon on that list?
I was right at the top. I don't even know if it was on that list, but you know, we had a great run out there. We had an awesome Budweiser Dodge, and we just we had track position. Everything worked out right for us that day, and that's tough to happen on a road course. So you know, our team, Kenny, Francis, and the guys did an awesome job, and we were able to hold off Tony at the end, which was pretty good in itself.
And the cool thing about the whole weekend, the King, Richard Petty, making his return to Victory Lane. Everybody in Victory Lane, including you, just kind of lit up to get the King back in there.
Yeah, it felt great to see Richard back in Victory Lane. I know our entire team, our entire company, Richard Petty Motorsports was wanting to get him back in Victory Lane, and for the 9 guys to do that on last Sunday was pretty cool. So you know, we want to do it more. Richard was having a blast in Victory Lane. He's been great to be around all week long. He's awesome with the people, and you know, it was cool to see that.
Now, they tell me as part of your appreciation for your guys, you're taking them for a bowling adventure tomorrow night. Now, have you been practicing for that? Because you don't want to lose to your guys in a bowling tournament.
No, I haven't practiced, but
and I've seen you bowling and golfing. Well, you're probably a little bit better bowling than you are a golfer.
I'm a little better than you at golf.
Well, I understand that. Everybody is. But how's your bowling game?
No, Hermie's actually really good at golf. But no, my bowling game's all right. I just go out and we're going to have fun, get all the group, you know, everybody together, engine shop, everybody that's part of RPM. We can go bowling and eat some food. We got Budweiser's going to be there, so it'll be a lot of fun. I look forward to that. And last week we had a big luncheon. It's nice to get the group together and you know, just show the appreciation for all the guys that work so hard.
These guys looking to keep that momentum going. Casey Kane in Victory Lane last week. He has the best finish of 4th here at Loudon, looking to better that this weekend. Wendy?
Well, thank you, Hermie. And, of course, Greg Biffle was our last winner here in the fall at Loudon. Now, Greg, talk about your race car for this weekend because it looks pretty good. Good enough for me to possibly pick you for the fantasy picks.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, the car's pretty good. Greg and the guys did a great job bringing the car back, similar to how we had it. We incorporated a little bit of what we learned so far this season. And I think we're going to be pretty tough today. Just hopefully this weather stays out of here and the track stays dry, and a little bit different conditions than what we practice. You know, a lot cooler and a lot more grip, a lot more speed. So curious to see how the car drives on this track condition when we get started.
Now, how do you work the balance of your race car through the weekend? We had a lot of rubber laid down from different series. We've had a lot of rain this weekend. I've heard a lot of feedback on that radio about chattering tires and forward bite. What's the most common goal? Where do you find that balance?
Well, I think with the cooler temperature, actually, I think you'll see the tire chatter a little bit more today in the center of the corner just because the speed's higher. The car's going to run a little bit faster down the straightaway with the cooler temperatures, and your corner speed will be up. So that's what we're focused on. We made a little adjustment this morning, and we'll see if we get it right.
All right, last week in Infineon, we leave there a slight drop in the points for you, just one spot to 8th. But this time last year, the fall race when you won, you went on for the rest of the season, kind of gave you that momentum of the chase, the final chase races. How important is that in getting those finishes here?
Well, it's really important. You know, we're nervous about where we're at in the points. We want to make the chase, and it's unfortunate last week. We had a decent car and lost track position and got turned around. So we're working hard at these track position or keeping these points so we can get into the chase, and every race counts right now, and we feel like we can come out of here with a top 10 today pretty easily. We've got a good enough car to do that, keep that 3 and 4 diffusion going and make the chase.
All right, good luck to Greg Biffle. Jimmy Spencer, we know Greg Biffle has been winless in 2009, but I think I may change his luck around. We'll have to see at Fantasy Picks.
Well, you've been doing well this year, Wendy, but you know what's been doing really well this year? The 10th different winner in 16 races was last week at Infineon with Casey Kane. And you know what? Biffle hasn't won. Carl Edwards hasn't won. Juan Pablo. Think about the guys haven't won. A lot of new winners still coming this year, Johnny.
And we could see one of them this afternoon because it could have a lot to do with pit strategy, because not only does the crew chief have to be a head coach, a psychiatrist, but he also has to be an amateur meteorologist. So now let's go to our Sunoco pit strategy of the week with Chad Canals.
Guys in Loudon, New Hampshire here this weekend, and the thing is, this is a very, very important race. The guys that are really paying attention to the chase are watching this race and trying maybe something just a little bit different, because when we come back here in 10 weeks, this is where the championship chase all begins. Now, you can go about 75 laps on a Sunoco fuel run, but we've got a little bit different tire here. So in the past, a lot of guys would maybe take 2 tires an awful lot, or maybe some fuel-only stops, or stay out a lot more often. Well, with this new tire that we've got, I think you're going to want to hit pit road a little bit more often. Quite simply because it's a softer tire, but the other thing that you've got to remember is we've got the double foul restart. So track position isn't going to be quite as important as what it has been in the past. This field gets strung out relatively quickly. So if a guy with fresh tires, he's going to be able to pass a lot of cars. This is going to be a great race, and pay attention. The guy that runs well here this weekend is probably going to start the chase off very, very well.
No question about that. It's the 5th year of the Sunoco Free Fuel 500 exclusively at Sunoco. It's easy to participate. Simply visit any participating Sunoco station, pick up a free Sunoco decal, put it in a prominent location on your car, and visit our stations on a regular basis for a chance to be spotted. For more information, visit GoSunoco.com. And coming up next week, you will be able to witness history on Speed. We'll explain that in just a moment, but as part of Speed's Daytona celebration, we're going to kick it off on Thursday with practice sessions, qualifying sessions, trackside race day, and victory lane. You don't want to miss it, so be there. Starts live at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Today in Loudon, New Hampshire, points leader Tony Stewart will start on the pole, but his weekend didn't start off very well. A practice accident has forced him to a backup car, but because it happened before qualifying, the race engine's in there, he will not go to the back of the pack, and Tony Stewart will start first. But it was Casey Kane who finished first, holding off Stewart last weekend for his first ever road course victory and his first win of 2009. Casey Kane is coming into New Hampshire on a hot streak. It has been a beautiful weekend at times so far in the Northeast here for NASCAR. Let us hope that the rain holds off as we are ready for 301 miles of racing here on a very unpredictable racetrack known as the Magic Mile of Loudon, New Hampshire. Now, for the past couple of years, NASCAR has been working on building their showcase, the Hall of Fame, and that is coming soon into Charlotte, North Carolina. But you got to pick the people who are coming into the Hall of Fame, and we'll have a chance to witness that history on Speed coming up next week. Now, this is a NASCAR announcement. They are going to select 25 nominees, and we will carry it on Speed Thursday, July 2nd at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. It is very important to see who this class of 25 is going to be. Only 5 will actually make it in to the Hall of Fame. And with that in mind, let's now get the good stuff with Booty Barker.
We're here at Loudon, New Hampshire.
There's a Roberts in the Hall of Fame. It is going to be Fireball Roberts.
I used to
and maybe Kenny Wallace.
I used to like Booty, but
I like how Booty says Carburetor.
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 Yeah, I said it.
You know what? Can I talk about the Hall of Fame, or you want to go, Spence?
Go ahead. I want to hear what you got to say.
You know, this is a little bit of controversy because everybody's got their, situation. Now, look, let's just start like this. We already know Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty. We know they're going to be in. So
automatic.
Put that aside, okay? Don't talk about that because we know they're going to be in. But this Hall of Fame is 50-something years into this deal, so we got to go back in time. There was a driver that ran on the beach. He won one of the first races on the beach. His name was Tim Flock. Now, he had a monkey riding with him. They called that monkey Jocko Flocko. Now, my question to all of you out there, now, when Tim Flock goes in the Hall of Fame, does he take his monkey with him? Does that count as 2 people?
You're a wacko.
I don't know, but he had that little. He had that little monkey.
We need the
little
rules.
monkey Hans toy. Okay.
What are the rules?
I don't know what the rules are for a monkey, but here's what the rules are for drivers. For former drivers, they have to have competed at least 10 years in NASCAR and be retired from racing at least 3. And for non-drivers, they have to have had worked in the sport at least 10 years. Now, the nominating committee is made up of 20 members. They will select the nominees, and those are representatives from NASCAR, Hall of Fame executives, track owners, and the voting committee is a 47-person committee, and that's made up of members of the nominating committee, media representatives, 1 representative from Chevy, Dodge, Ford, retired drivers, owners, and crew chiefs and fans.
Don't matter.
What doesn't matter?
This is going to be the greatest day in NASCAR history. This is putting us in an elite group, just like the Hall of Fame for baseball, all the major league sports. To me, the controversy, does Fonny Flock, 56 years ago, he won a race in Wilson, North Carolina. How about Lee Petty? He won 51 years ago. This is where the controversy starts. To the fans out there, I can't wait for Thursday night. I'm going to tell you why I'm going to sit near to the screen glued. I want to know who these names are. There's going to be some names that I didn't even remember or hear of. That is what I like about the Hall of Fame. It's going to bring in these people that we've probably forgot about. And then the name comes up and you say, oh my God, I remember that name. Especially for the new fan. I'm excited about the Hall of Fame. I can't wait, Kenny. This is what makes me excited about it.
Yes, I'm going to say this. I agree with Jimmy Spencer. Woo! But yeah, I mean, look, once again, we're catching up. Our sport is new, we're way behind. You go to, any other Hall of Fames, they started back years and years ago. We have to catch up for lost time. So remember, race fans, to be patient. We got to go back and grab the guys that started our sport. I mean, Fireball Roberts, man, Curtis Turner. These guys were legendary.
Bill Gazaway, Dick Beatty. How about Barney Hall? I mean, we can keep going
Eli
down the list.
Gold.
How about Smokey Unick?
Eli Gold, Smokey Unick.
We could go
Bobby
on forever.
Allison? Oh, man, I can't wait.
When NASCAR announces the first 25 nominees coming up next week, you can see it here on Speed. You will find out which 25 nominees will be named, and 5 will go in to the Hall of Fame. That's Thursday, July 2nd, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, only on Speed. Keep it right here. We're getting fired up for racing at Loudon, and we'll get you right up to race time.
What does this trio have in common? They've all scored checkers 3 times in 09.
Jimmy Johnson has led more laps at Martinsville than any other racetrack. He is going to win.
It's just that 2 of them did it the hard way.
Pulls out of gas. Martin takes the lead in turn number 3.
And someone has been riding serious coattails. And she ain't too proud to brag either.
And I will have 4 wins when we leave Infineon. Hermie.
Fantasy picks straight ahead on NASCAR Race Day.
She is very, very cocky.
For the serious NASCAR racer, this is not a job, it is a lifestyle. Some people in NASCAR work 7 to 7, 7 days a week. So when you're running good, life is good. When you're running bad, life is very difficult. So for more on who's running good and who's running poorly right now, let's go down and get our Shell Garage report, and we start out with Hermie Sadler.
Well, thank you, JR. And where else are we going to start our Shell Garage report other than our points leader, Tony Stewart? Now, one of the big benefits of being a points leader, in case of rain, you start up front and you get the first pit of a pit box on pit road. Tony Stewart has both of those going for him today. He also has 2 wins. He is in a bag-up car, but race fans, what happened the last time he was in a bag-up car at Pocono? He won. Now, second in points, Jeff Gordon. He's only 84 points behind. The car was a little bit snug in practice, but overall, Steve Letarte likes his race car. Look for him to have a good run today. And Jimmy Johnson, third place in points, minus 184. He also has 2 wins here. His car was very, very strong in practice. The 24 and the 48 will be 2 of the guys that will challenge the 14 today. Wendy?
Hey, Hermie, I think one of the biggest battles we should be watching is for inside that top 12. If you look through 9th through 15th, that's where it's really going to get exciting. Now, Kyle Busch, with 3 wins this season, still remains with that 9th place spot. He didn't move after Infineon, but I'll tell you, with Matt Kenseth, he moved up 1 spot after his 18th place finish in Infineon. Now, behind him, Mark Martin, who was a big drop 3 spots after his 35th place finish, despite having 3 wins, has fallen to 11th in points. Now, Juan Pablo Montoya, who's in the garage right now, coming off of Infineon with a great finish. Juan Pablo Montoya finished 6th, moving up 2 spots. He is inside the top 12 right now. So with Juan Pablo in the top 12, that means somebody has fallen outside of the top 12. If we look at that, it's only 3 points away, and it's Casey Kane after winning in Infineon. He comes into Loudon 13th in points, 3 points shy of being inside that top 12. Another mover was David Ruderman, down 1 spot. We know he was not happy in Infineon. He's glad to get out of there. And look at Jeff Burton. Jeff Burton has fallen to 15th, outside of the top 12. He was a big drop in points. Jeff Burton hopes to turn things around here in New Hampshire, because we know he has the most wins when it comes to this racetrack. Jeff Burton wants to get back in that top 12 and get RCR back on top. So there's a battle right there. 9th through 15th is really where the real battle is. Hermie?
Well, Wendy, and 2 other drivers we want to profile today that still have had decent seasons but need to step it up to have a really good season. The first one, the number 1 car of Martin Truex Jr. Obviously a good racetrack for him. That's the good part. He's got 3 top 5s in 6 starts. The bad part for Martin Truex is he's in the rumor mill a lot. That race team wondering, will Martin Truex stay at Earnhardt Ganassi? Will he leave? So that kind of distraction can be detrimental to a race team. Another team we want to talk about, the 19 car of Elliott Sadler. He's jumped up 5 positions in the points the last 5 races. A 12th at Michigan, a 10th at Infineon. The last couple weeks really have this team with some momentum. And early this weekend, we asked Elliott why this team is getting better at this time of the season.
You know, we've been working very hard all year, of course, just like every other team. But here lately, we've, starting to get some new cars and starting to get some lighter race cars and stuff like that. And anytime you can get better pieces and stuff to bolt onto the cars, you're going to run better. And I think a lot of it's our communication. You know, it's first time Kevin and I have worked together as a team, and we get to run the new engine, I think, starting at Indy here in the next month or so. So all these things are definitely going to add up to give us a better tool to work with on Sundays. Now we just got to put it in play.
Another thing Elliott Sadler told me, he's allowing me to occupy the couch in his motorhome this weekend. Last night he said, Hermie, another big thing that's helped us, Foster Gillette, since he's come on board on a day-to-day basis, really helped the focus and communication of this race team, which is very important. Wendy?
Well, those are some guys that are improving, Hermie, but there are some guys that have dropped, and kind of a surprise in the points this year. One of them being David Reagan, who was so close to the top 12 last year. Well, now he finds himself 30th in points. David Reagan, they made a slight crew change. Jimmy Finning will be on the pit box calling the shots, but Chris Andrews, a team engineer, has been brought in more to the role in here in the garage area, making those calls throughout the race weekend. Another guy we want to talk about, David Stremme, a little bit of disappointment there. Great guy, we love David Stremme, but he's had 5 DNFs this year, 3 of them in the last 4 races. The good thing for David Stremme, he was 11th on the lap tracker here in Loudon, so hopes to turn things around today. And a guy that we also want to talk about is Scott Speed, who is 36th in the owner points. Now, remember back in Bristol at the beginning of the year, Scott Speed told us on NASCAR Race Day that he didn't think the top 35 was important, that it didn't matter to him. Well, Scott Speed has failed to qualify for 3 races this year, including Infineon last week. He's 95 points out of the top 35 owner points. Scott Speed in the last 4 weeks has finished 32nd or worse. So Scott Speed is another guy that hopes to gain points here at New Hampshire today and get back in the top 35 so he doesn't find himself on the outside looking in when it comes to setting the field by points in the future or qualifying for a race inside that top 35. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot. You certainly know where you stand at this time of season because so many different race teams have different agendas depending on where they are in points. But guys, is it conceivable? A guy like Mark Martin, Kyle Busch, 3 victories for each of these racers, and they may have a possibility of not making the chase.
Race for the championship, because these are guys, you know, that have been in this sport for a long time. We've watched Rusty Wallace before win 10 races in 1 year and not win the championship. You say, how can you win 10 races, Spence, and not win the championship? So, absolutely. You know, Mark the Kid Martin, you know, had all those motor problems early in the year. So sometimes it's sad to say, we stress, we all want to win. But when it comes to a championship, it's not all about winning.
No, and what I want to talk about is the distraction for Martin Truex. He's not going to be with that team next year. He's going to move on. So I agree with Hermie. That is such a distraction, or it was Wendy. It's such a distraction that you can't have success. David Stremme, no top 10s this year, overdriving. No question, he has the talent, he has the team, he needs to calm himself down and learn to finish races, AKA Juan Pablo. Juan Pablo, one of the greatest drivers in the sport, finally figured out there's more to this sport than beating and banging. You got to finish. That's the difference. That's what some of these drivers have to do.
It's like what the man, Dick Trickle, said. To finish first, you must first finish.
Yes, he taught me that.
Yep, and we believe what Dick Trickle said.
Hi, Dick Trickle. We miss you, buddy.
Hey, is Danica Patrick coming to NASCAR? We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But first, we want to remind you to visit NASCAR.com during today's race for enhanced coverage with Race Buddy. Choose 6 live camera angles, get up-to-the-minute notes, and chat with other race fans, all for free. Check it out. It's at NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy. Welcome back to NASCAR Race Day, everyone. Built by the Home Depot, Jeff Gordon is one of 2 drivers with 3 victories at this racetrack. But Jeff Gordon is not only a winner on the track, he is a winner off the track as well with his Jeff Gordon Foundation. Earlier this week at the Kannapolis, North Carolina YMCA, they held an asthma camp for kids that suffer from asthma. They had a great time. They played a lot of games, and members of the 24 team were there to help them make their own race cars. The Jeff Gordon Foundation has raised millions of dollars over the years. Yeah, that looks kind of like a mini Kenny Wallace, soon to be a Kenny Wallace, a camera hand. But the Jeff Gordon Foundation has raised millions of dollars over the years to help kids out in various foundations, such as the Hendrick Bone Marrow Foundation. And on this day, they helped out kids with asthma. A good time was definitely had by all.
Good deal, Jeff.
Very good, Jeff Gordon.
Nicely done. Nicely done. Well, pick up a newspaper, read the internet, which we all do from time to time, and you'll find out that Danica Patrick is contemplating, if we believe all our sources, contemplating a move to NASCAR and quite possibly could end up at either Hendrick Motorsports or Roush Fenway Racing. That's all rumor. That's all up for debate. But let's see what she had to say about the possibility. This has come up before. And on Danica coming to NASCAR, she says NASCAR has so many viewers and so many options inside and outside of the car. It's kind of like the Indy 500 every weekend. A lot of fun as a driver to be part of something important and something people want to watch. We know NASCAR fits in to all those categories, but we ask you guys, we have seen open wheel racers come to NASCAR before. Mr. Spencer, do you think Danica Patrick can make it here in NASCAR?
It would be the best thing to happen in the sport in the last 30 years. Having a Danica Patrick for the Daytona 500, it would be awesome, man. The publicity, everything about it would be fantastic, Kenny.
I don't think you believe that.
How would she do? She would fail miserably. There is no question in my mind. In my opinion, she struggles in IndyCar racing. She's very not capable of driving a couple.
But now you're not saying that, though. You're not saying that just because she's a woman.
Oh God, no. This has nothing to do with the woman. This is her ability, my opinion, her ability. She does not have the ability to drive a Sprint Cup car in this series and be competitive.
Top 5 in Indy 500?
That is not the Sprint Cup series. The most demanding, physical, toughest sport that there is in motor racing is here. She can't make it here.
Okay, let me see. I have a soapbox underneath me, so I'm going to get on my soapbox now.
That's scary.
First of all open-wheel car owners, Roger Penske, Chip Ganassi, and all open-wheel drivers want to come NASCAR. Roger Penske has said that on this show. All open-wheel people want to come NASCAR. Why? Because this is the show. In my opinion, I think Danica is just smart. She's just stirring up media. I don't think she's coming here in a million years. Why? Because she's really good at what she's doing right now, and she looks good right now. I don't want Danica to look bad. I think she's really good at what she does. I think she should stay here. Plus, another reason. I've heard Jeff Gordon, I've heard Rusty Wallace say that Juan Pablo, now listen to this. I've heard them say Juan Pablo is one of the greatest drivers in the history of our sport. They said it 2 years ago. And look at Sam Hornish. Sam Hornish, you know,
both IRL champions.
Yeah, I mean, both IRL champions. These are the greatest of open wheel, and they're barely making it now. Now, Juan's made it. Juan's in, he's big time. But Sam Hornish, I mean, he's getting better. I just don't think that Danica is going to do anything like this. I think she's smart, and I think she's stirring up the media and has no reason to come here.
Now, we have also heard her say that if she comes to NASCAR, she wants to race for one of the top teams so she can be competitive and good equipment. Here's what Jack Roush said about a possibility of Danica coming over. He says doesn't know much about her, and she'd have to spend time in the Nationwide Series or Truck Series, say a minimum 2 years, and at the same time she could run 6 or 7 Cup races to maintain a rookie status. Now, that is only rumor so far that we've heard that Jack Roush would be interested in her or Rick Hendrick would be interested in her. That's just rumor right now. We don't know what the reality is. Point. A lot of it.
Money talks, baby.
I think if she could get a sponsor, there's no question in my mind, very sellable, very enjoyable to watch, and if she could bring a lot of money, somebody might give her an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, money talks right now. Everybody knows where we're at in this economic situation. So, you know, a lot of team owners are just looking to survive. But Danica is not dumb. Once again, I'm going to repeat myself. She's not going to come. She can't be that crazy. Right now, every time I go into an airport, every time I go into an airport right now, she's in a bikini on a good-looking magazine.
Oh, that's a good picture.
So, I mean, she's got it going for her. Just stay where you're at.
Nothing wrong with that, especially on kind of a cloudy day. We want to think about sunny things like the beach or things like that.
I got sunshine.
When we come back to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, we will see a different side of Denny Hamlin as Wendy Venturini gets the real deal behind driver number 11.
Last week on the road course, Denny Hamlin was out in front of the pack, back where he wants to be.
Denny Hamlin, your leader by 1 second over Kurt Busch.
Now he's sitting in front of Ms. Venturini, answering the tough questions on his chase plans for 09.
I think the next few weeks involve just building over 13th place, and that includes just getting top 5s. That's not taking a risk to go for second or third when you've got a good top 5 finish already.
The real deal's heading your way. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Welcome back to NASCAR Race Day, where the fans, they like to sign that wall here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. To get a good look, NASCAR Race Day will bring you up to the minute of everything happening in the garage here in the 2009 season in the Sprint Cup Series. And one of those guys that we're following is Denny Hamlin. He's had some recent success, a great finish at Infineon. We decided to check in with Denny Hamlin. Has his attitude changed? Well, for more on that, here's a look at this week's Real Deal.
Denny Hamlin's leading the pack here at Infineon. He had a great run last week at Michigan. He finished third. He would love to see back-to-back top fives.
All right, Denny, coming off Sonoma, 2 great finishes the last 2 weeks, a 3rd and a 5th after 2 poor finishes. Does this mean the monkey's off your back now?
Not necessarily. Not until we win a race. You know, I felt like we've been in position a few times this year. Not as many as probably the year before that, but you know, we've been in position to win races, and you know, just haven't finished it off.
I know you're pretty hard on yourself. You said how competitive you are, and I know you're frustrated at some of the results. But when I heard a quote from Mike Ford, he said, "Hey, if we were that bad, we wouldn't be in the top 20." So, are you being Denny the downer or Denny the realist? Which is it?
I'm a realist, but I'm a negative person as well. I expect a lot from myself. I expect to be better than everyone on that racetrack at all times, and I think a lot of that comes from having a winning past. Just can't seem to get it done in the Cup Series. Now, given the competition is so much harder, but you know, I just expect to do well, and when things don't go my way, it gets frustrating. I mean, how much more frustrating can you get than falling out before turn 1 of the first lap at Pocono?
Yeah.
I mean, that stuff wears on you, and as positive as you try to be, days like that kind of bring you back to, you know, the Denny Downer days.
It's been really an up-and-down season for Hamlin. He runs up front, but he's had some bad luck keeping him out of the win column.
When you look at success in the Sprint Cup Series, how do you judge your success as a driver?
You know, there's days where I think, you know, it's amazing to just see my name above a door of a Cup car, or see the standings and look at the company that I'm in, and I think, man, I'm really doing pretty good for myself considering, you know, where I came from. But then there's other days and I think, man, why am I not doing better? And that's frustrating, but in the grand scheme of things, you know, life is pretty good. We are being successful. We're putting ourselves in a spot to be in the chase 4 consecutive years, and every year that we've really tried. But I think it's just me being so hard on myself that kind of makes it to where you don't always have the best day or the best attitude.
What's happened to you? You sound really mature.
Old age, I guess. I don't know.
4 years has done good for you then.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. You know, I've gone through changes of the rookie year, kind of going through, just taking everything in and just amazed that, hey, we're being successful. I can't believe, you know, we're battling for a championship, going into Homestead, you know, just being in awe of everything, to then 2007 thinking, you know, you can stick your chest out and hey, this is our year to win a championship right off the bat. You know, we were so close in our rookie year. Why can't we do it in 07? And then, you know, the cockiness trying to make things happen on the racetrack. And I think I've done a better job of keeping my cars under me towards the end of races and being more competitive. And I think it just comes with more experience.
Pretty sure Denny Hamlin's looking forward to next week at Loudon, New Hampshire. He's coming off 2 top 5s, and it's a track where he always runs well.
Now, your last win was Martinsville, 2008. We're headed to Loudon, a track that you won at before. So with this momentum you've had on your side, is this the best chance you have to get a victory this weekend?
I think so. You know, a lot of expectations always come falling on my shoulders when it comes to a short flat track or just a flat track in general. New Hampshire's just a place where we've had a lot of success and run really well there. And yeah, so I mean, I think, you know, this weekend is as good as any chance that I've ever had to win a race, especially in 09.
And if that doesn't give you a good look into Denny Hamlin and his positive attitude he has at Joe Gibbs Racing, here's another look at what's going on, too, at Joe Gibbs. Well, recently, he got together with some of the other drivers, the crew chief, all the department heads. They had a meeting 2 weeks ago. They wanted to decide, put on paper, what exactly they needed to do to get Joe Gibbs Racing back on top with all 3 of their cars. Well, what they came to the conclusion from, when they got feedback from their 3 drivers, they decided that there's about an area, 5% of every department throughout the race shop. 5% here, 5% there. That's all adding together. And if they make those very, very small improvements at Joe Gibbs Racing, those drivers, crew chief, and department heads feel that they could get Joe Gibbs Racing on top and possibly come home with another championship at the end of 2009. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot, and certainly they don't have that much room for improvement at Joe Gibbs Racing. We want to welcome in Hermie Sadler up to the speed stage here. Hermie, you know, when you look at Joe Gibbs Racing, you got to say that they don't have much room for improvement because they got Kyle Busch winning races, Denny Hamlin's in championship contention, and Joey Logano's improving.
That was a neat piece on Denny Hamlin, and I tell you about Denny, he is a lot more mature last year than he was this year, and he's learning how to accept the ups and the downs, but you guys chime in on this. One thing he's got different, just put things into perspective, Kyle Busch has come to that organization and is kind of taking it. He's the lead guy of that organization. Joey Logano gets a lot of attention. Denny Hamlin has got to get it done on the racetrack, and I think he understands that having the attitudes after bad finishes is not what this thing is all about.
Well, there's pluses and minuses. Tony Stewart this year, 4,758 completed laps of 4,761. That's what Joe Gibbs is talking about. They need a lot of improvement, Johnny. Yes, Kyle Busch wins races, but what happens? He finishes 15th or whatever it may be. Denny Hamlin went from 12th to 7th in the points in the last 2 races. That's what they need to do. They need to get consistency. They can't have stuff break like they did at Pocono, ignition problems, what you name it. And that's my point, Kenny. Today, the way the system is structured, consistency, consistency, consistency.
As a race car driver, when I watch that piece with Denny Hamlin, he's got something going for him that he might not even know. First of all, they like him. They want him there at Gibbs. And to be able to sit down with your team and go, hey, guys, you know, I'm going to look myself in the mirror in the morning, and I'm going to go, man, what can I do to be a better race car driver? Now, to take every department, go, hey, motor department, hey, pit stop guys, hey, chassis guy, hey, guy that builds the shocks, everybody try to be better. If you can truly do that with a team, you've got it licked. Because usually on most teams, it's like, well, my motors aren't, nothing wrong with my motors, nothing wrong with our pit stops. So, Denny, you got a good thing going for you right now. Your team loves you, and I think it's really awesome that the position you're in, your wins will come. This is the sport of NASCAR, and everybody's negative, and everybody always wants to win. That's the way it is.
Hey, and his team needs him to be a responsible, stand-up guy, and he's stepping up to the plate to do that. They need him.
And we could well see Denny Hamlin step into victory lane today. This is one of his better racetracks. Now, what is the fastest way around the Magic Mile? We'll tell you when NASCAR Race Day rolls on. Welcome back, race fans, to Loudon, New Hampshire, where we're about 2 hours away from a 300-miler here, and all eyes are on the skies, and we hope the clouds go away and we get the full race in this afternoon. Now, when we talk about studs at the racetrack, we're not talking about, Kenny Wallace, Jimmy Spencer, Hermie Sadler. We're talking about where the tire changers have to really pay attention. Our Advanced Auto Parts Texplanation, Hermie Sadler.
Well, thank you, JR. And a lot of mistakes this year on pit road that cost the team's track position. One mistake on pit road today, you're probably not going to win this race. One of the reasons why we're seeing some problems, NASCAR has changed the rule this year. This is a stud that the tire was put up on during the pit stop. These are the lug nuts that the guys put on with the impact wrenches. Last year, NASCAR said, just get the lug nut on there like this. You don't have to have any threads showing on the back side. Well, this year, 2009, NASCAR says you've got to have 50 thousandths of threads showing on the back side of that lug nut. You got to put the lug nut on a little bit further to pass NASCAR rules. And it's a timing thing with these pit crews because you don't see at your local body shop or your repair shop when they put a lug on, they sit there and hold it like that. On a tire changer on pit road, it's not that way. It's get in, it's quick. How quick can you get it? But you've got to do it quickly and also keep the threads showing on the back side. So NASCAR's saying, we're going safer. You have to slow down to go fast. They've got all the guys on pit road, JR, are having to adjust to this new rule and get the lugs on the car, get the tires on, and no mistakes. That's the key to going to victory lane here at Loudon.
And Hermie, when you're talking about fractions of seconds, that has been a cause of some trouble for some of the pit crews so far this season. Want to learn more? Go to speedtv.com and check out our Advanced Auto Parts virtual car and learn more about NASCAR rules and NASCAR's new car in the virtual cutaway car from Advanced Auto Parts. Now, drivers, it's time to strap in and let's take a lap around the Magic Mile.
And we are going to ride with Kurt Busch, the winner of this race last year, down the front straightaway. And the key here is you cannot enter wide. Look, he's going right down to the apron. Left front, look, he even goes over the apron. He comes up a little bit. He wants a straight shot up off the corner. Jimmy Spencer, the wall comes up fast.
very quick here, Kenny. Long back straightaway. The key here is get on the brakes early, get off the gas early, get on the brakes, and get off them quick. You've got to roll these corners. That's the biggest problem. Now, here's another tricky part. Wow, right there. That's how quick the wall comes up. You have to be really careful here in New Hampshire. You can pinch a guy pretty quick. We've seen it happen in the past. You get pinched in
like
the
this,
wall.
Spence?
Like that in turn 2 and turn 4.
I guess
I've never
that makes
done
me
that
the wall.
before. As you
I'm
see
gonna stay
that.
out of that.
I've never done that before. I've never pinched anybody off.
Hermie, a little while ago, you were actually on the track showing us how you almost get the sensation of almost a negative banking, don't you?
You know, you really do. And the thing that really the fans say, well, this is a flat track just like we run at other places. This is a very unique flat track, the way the banking is and how you can use the racetrack, the top of the racetrack and the bottom to make passes. But Spence, a racetrack you can easily overdrive as well.
Yeah, the biggest problem about this racetrack, and we can't stress it enough, if you overdrive this track, you go too fast. You saw Tony Stewart go to a backup car, Mark Martin. You missed the line here because you've gone in a little bit too far. And when you go in a little bit too hard, you end up into that big outside barrier.
And last thing, don't forget, double foul restarts.
Oh, yeah.
Shootout style.
That will be a key today, I can tell you, because these cars will be loose on these
All right,
restarts.
now we have a real driver taking a fake lap around this racetrack and getting some real help from someone who knows. There's three-time Bus Series champion Wendy Venturini.
No. Wendy D.P. Venturini.
Hey,
All right, so that's Ryan Newman standing around. He's one here.
Why pick on me, gentlemen?
I said you were a real driver, Wendy.
I was doing research for this weekend's race.
You're real loose. Just spin it out.
That looks like me, Wendy.
I was researching how to get a good feel for the track so I could describe it to the T to the race fans at home. And I do have to tell you, I just was joking around in the media center. I did want to get a feel for this track, and all of a sudden I hear someone giving me advice over my shoulder. I turned around, and as you saw, it was Ryan Newman, and he was telling me how to drive the track. So I guess I was getting pretty good advice.
I don't think there's anybody better to get advice from.
She must make Jarrett swat the flies at home because she was all.
She was all. Hey, but you're talking about a three-time Bus Series champion.
I know. I better be quiet.
So yeah, can't say much about that. When we come back, we're going to put our money where our collective mouths are and say who's going to win this race. Fantasy picks are coming up, and a final word here from Loudon, New Hampshire.
Next week, NASCAR's baddest and fastest go hard for 400 miles. Then, stuff gets blowed up. The Independence Day tradition has added meaning as we pay tribute to the one and only. It's been 25 years since the King scored his bicentennial. Gentlemen, start your engines. And we're celebrating in style. NASCAR Race Day from Daytona on the 4th of July.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. Visit HomeDepot.com. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And by Cheerios. Visit CheeriosRacing.com and you'll get great healthy tips and $4 in coupons from Cheerios. NASCAR has come to New England for the first of 2 races. Next time we're here, the chase will be on. Today, the best in the racing business will vie for the checkered flag and an opportunity for a great test to get the chase off on the right foot for the championship contenders. By virtue of being the points leader in a rained-out qualifying session, Tony Stewart will lead us to the green flag, and he wants to come home with the checkers after that as well. So here is not only the top 12 in standings, but also your top 12 starters today. And right now, Hermie Sadler, we have 170 points separating 4th through 13th. That's tight.
I tell you, when you have qualifying rained out as well, one of the best benefits of being up early in the points, up far in the points, is starting up front. Very important here.
And the most important thing, fans, is 3 of these guys on this list are not going to have a shot at the Sprint Cup Championship.
And you know, you can't say it enough, Kenny, how important that is. It was Greg Biffle who first pointed us out on that. He was in the chase one year, out of the chase the next year, said he felt like a second-class citizen.
And yeah, I mean, that's what's really tough about this is when this all comes down to the end and we got our top 12, there's going to be phenomenal race car drivers that can win races that won't make it. And they go, man, I'm a hobo. I can't even race for the championship. So it is a tough series, but a tough rule to go. Only the top 12 get to compete.
All right, now only the top 5 get to compete in NASCAR Race Day Fantasy. Well, we only have 5, so I guess, okay. In fantasy picks. You know what?
Top 5, cool.
Yeah, it's a top 5. We're all in top 5. But, yeah, little controversy still after Jimmy Spencer picked the entire Roush Fenway organization.
I like that,
at
man.
Michigan, jumped from last to second.
The Boston Red Sox and Roush Fenway.
Kenny, why don't you start us out before we debate?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to pick the Blue Deuce today.
No.
I am going to pick the man that won the race here last time, and they gave him a big lobster. It is going to be none other than Rusty Wallace, the Blue Deuce. No, they're already booed him. Kurt Busch is going to...
It's Kurt Busch, not Kyle Busch. It's Kurt Busch.
Kurt Busch
Good pick.
will win today's race. Hermie Sadler, Jimmy.
I'm second.
Next.
Mr.
I'll
Simon.
tell you who I'm going with. Danica Patrick.
She's not in the race yet, Jimmy.
She's not in the race yet. She's not here yet.
Oh, I thought
That's
we were
for
picking
Daytona
for the Indy 500. The Daytona 500.
No. Loudon, Jimmy.
Oh, okay. I'm taking this guy. He's 330 points out of the chase. So what? He has nothing to lose except win today. I love the color of his car. Martin Truex, #1 car, baby. I love it. Cool car. It's long overdue for Ganassi DEI to have success, and he's going to do it today, boys. Wendy.
Wendy.
Boys,
Wendy.
you boys love to pick on the girl on the show. I saw that promo going to break, putting all those clips together. We all know.
We love
know
you.
the truth. We know the truth. And I love you guys. We have a great time on NASCAR Race Day. Joking aside, a guy that I think is going to get the job done today, he has been winless in 2009. And I know you may say, well, that's a dumb move, but I think Greg Biffle's going to win today at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Stick with the Biff. He's going to get a win for 2009, and hopefully I can get some 10 bonus points that I've been talking about when we have these 10 races to the chase cut off. Hermie Sadler, my dear friend, who is next in line behind the three of us.
Wendy's
Where's that lead me?
Can I get under this desk? Wendy's got a heck of a problem. She's picked all the winners, so she can't pick anybody else anymore. But I need to get back in on the go today. I'm coming with the heat. I'm going with the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson.
I like it.
I don't care because Chad Canals and Jimmy Johnson are the best at adjusting to changing track conditions. That's what we're going to have today.
I cannot believe that you guys are so nice to me, that you feel so bad for me, that my picks have stunk so bad. I need some changes in my organization. I need to get 50% better, not 5% better like Joe Gibbs. 50% better in my organization. But these guys have left me the smoke. What an obvious pick. I mean, man, starting on the pole, best in the business out there. Tony is going to win this race today, no question.
Boys back at the shop been working hard.
That's right, they've been working real hard.
Hats, baby.
Yeah, me and the smoke going to the front today, and he's going to come pour Coke on Jimmy Spencer's head after this.
No, Mr. Simon.
All right, let's recap our picks here. Kenny Wallace has the Blue Deuce, the 1 for Spence, Biff for Wendy, and 48 for Hermie Sadler, and 14 for Jana TV, as we see going to way up in the state.
Good lineup.
Let's
Good lineup.
head back inside now and check in with Wendy Venturini once again, a 3-time winner on the circuit, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Well, these are the true stories in the garage. What do you see once these cars leave the garage area? They come out here to pit road to get in line for the start of the race. Well, you just saw, the Aaron's Lucky Dog. He stays there. That's the cowl cover to keep those areas clean. A lot of these teams will block that area off. And now you've seen in 2009, they started adding team mascots to those areas. Big things on those cars to remind them to pull that cover off before they go green flag racing, of course, because that would cause some problems. As we walk down the grid, Clint Boyer's car, Red Bull has a pretty good, cool emblem as well. But I do have to say, things are heating up here on pit road. We have 3 Dog Night that is performing behind me. Now, that's a little bit before my time, but I have noticed that the older gentlemen in the garage area have made their way to that stage to listen to 3 Dog Night. And Spence, they're waiting on you, I'm sure. I'm just teasing. So the crew members, they'll be, you see a lot of them have circled around 3 Dog Night to listen to that. Little pre-race festivities going on. Race fans have made their way down pit road for their little walkthroughs that they get allowed. The fans are filling up in the stands. And guess what, Johnny? The sun came out just moments ago, so I think we're going to be right on time for the race, and maybe that cell is going to miss us in New Hampshire, and we will be good to go for today's race.
Let us hope so, Wendy. Jimmy Spencer's so old, he liked that band back when it was 1 Dog Night.
Jeremiah,
the temperature is 68 degrees right now, humidity 84. Isolated showers, Ken Wallace. We don't want to see that, but it's a strategy will come into it.
Jimmy Spencer, Hermie Sadler, what's going to happen today is...
What's going to happen is this stage is going to fall down if he doesn't be still.
Hey, Spencer's dancing to Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
All right,
Here's what's going to happen, guys. they're going to have the spotters up on top. They're going to be watching the radar, and they're going to be calling down to their crew chief, and they're going to go, hey, there is rain 10 miles away. There is rain 5 miles away. That will change the strategy in today's race.
And also what's going to change the strategy, Sunoco pit strategy, as you heard, new tire here. Going to make a big difference. You can pass at New Hampshire. You're going to see a lot of passing here today.
And one thing, we always say it, but we got to say it again today. These New England fans are awesome.
Oh, yeah,
They deserve 301 miles today. Hope we can give it to them.
Let us hope we get 301 in today. All eyes will be on the skies today, and we want to say once again, thanks to the folks at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the improvements at the racetrack and also for being so hospitable to us. We want to make sure that you tune in tonight for Victory Lane. We'll have you covered with however much racing we get in today. Keep it clean, keep it out of the wall. Thanks for coming along for the ride on this edition of NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, and we'll see you tonight in Victory Lane. So long, everybody.